Alright, so hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to be talking about badminton, and I will be covering a advanced concept in badminton doubles, just doubles, not singles, badminton doubles, called playmaking or call making. Now, what playmaking means is everything that you use to direct your team. So it's very typical at a lower badminton level to act as two individual people, right? You make whatever moves you make and you deal with that separately. The whole point of playmaking is to introduce methods to kind of talk with your partner without actually talking. So you're kind of directing a play like in football, right? In football, they call plays, and then that's everybody on the team knows which play is going to be taken, which play is going to be used. In badminton, at the advanced level, there is the same thing. Now, I'm going to just briefly explain what it generally is, and then maybe go in further detail in this video or in a future video once you understand the basic concept and have actually gone and practiced the basic concept before practicing the more advanced versions of playmaking. First thing is, there's three types of moments in badminton, and it's me and then you. It's before the shuttle is hit while it's in the air coming from your opponent. This is part A. B, while it's being hit by your team, and C, while it's traveling to your opponent. So we have three phases, A, B, C. Three phases for each team. In total, there's actually just I hit, air, you hit. So basically, two per team, kind of. The number is depends on what you call as one team's movements, right? So if I count I hit, goes in the air until you hit, I have two, right? Hit, wait. And then he hits, and then I wait, hit. It doesn't matter. So it's this is something that doesn't need to be explained, because anybody, if they just sit down and think about it, they can understand this part. It's just the technical, words and explanation is a little bit confusing. So I suggest you just think through it. It's very simple. It doesn't matter, okay? But what I want to say is, in terms of playmaking means deciding between two things, either moving or staying still, okay? And as you move, your partner is going to be forced to move also. Does that make sense? So you are reacting and reading not only your opponent but your partner. And eventually, at a more advanced level, there's going to be ways that you can kind of read your partner in advanced ways. But as for now, it's very simple. Okay? And so there's two basic structures in badminton, and this is front and back and side to side. Okay. In playmaking, making the play, the person at the front is making the play, because the person at the back can see the person in the front, but the person in the front cannot see the person at the back. Typically, to start off with, okay, of course, the more you practice with the single partner, the more in depth and kind of detailed your playmaking is going to be. You're going to have specific parts where you're kind of, oh yeah, I know that is what he's going to do, or I know this is what he wants, even though it's not obvious. I just know him. I know what he wants from this movement. I know what he usually does in this position. I know he's going to do that. Basically, to start off with though, it's very simple. When you don't move, you're signaling to the person in the back that you're not going to move and that you want him to make the shot. That is the play you're calling out. And you might think it's a finite, small detail. Oh, why should I even do it? Because it gives you knowledge, okay? And if you think, so that's not moving. If you move, he has to react with you. You're the active playmaker. Do you know what I mean? If in the front you shift back, he has to move forward to the other side. If you shift back towards the right side, he has to move towards the left side. That's the front person's calling the play. Now you might think, when should I do this, right? When should I call the play? Like, I don't know when to do this. There are many different ways you can do it, because this is just a concept. It's an idea, right? And you can apply the idea in many different ways. But typically, there's a couple types of playmaking. The first type of playmaking is a defensive playmaking. Okay, if one of the people doesn't think the defensive structure is proper, then what he would do. Imagine this is she. I'm not gonna say she. It's not that I don't believe that girls play badminton, because there's mixed doubles, there's women's doubles. I'm just gonna say he, because it's easier than saying two types of nouns. So I'm not being sexist. I'm just okay. So if I'm playing, at the front, I kind of forgot what I was gonna say actually, but just think about it for a sec. I swear I know this, but it just what I was talking about. Okay, so yeah, so when should I make the play calling? And then we're talking first about defense. Defense, your play calling should be made as soon as you kind of know where the shuttle is going, right? This is why if you're at the front when you hit your shot, let's say you're at the front and right before you even chase it down, you know that you're gonna hit it clear. You should be the playmaker, right? It shouldn't be the person at the back making the play, because you already know I'm gonna hit it clear. He doesn't know. How does he know? He doesn't. So that means that's why as soon as you hit the shuttle, you should be moving into a position, and you should force him to go to somewhere where the defensive structure is sound. All right. That's so. Sometimes you almost have to train something repetitively so that every single time you do that move, just because so you too know what to do. But again, there's many different ways to play. A lot of people think that this playmaking makes everything so simple and makes everything so everybody's gonna play the same now. It's MMA, but no, this way of playing actually has very, very deep, deep possibilities that you can only do if you understand the concept and you be imaginative. You imagine what you can do with it. So this is what I'm talking about when I say before the shuttle is hit. Typically, there will be a settle into the defensive structure. That's one possibility. Another possibility is if you're an attacking team and you feel that you have the advantage, you can predict your reading, then the person at the front, is gonna change. Okay. Typically, there's a person at the front. Sometimes it's a swift attack. It's a swift attack where the person at the front moves, not to defend but to be in a position to keep attacking. And really, it's a very instinctive thing. And it's something that you really have to practice with your partner in such a sense that you need to gain an understanding of what your partner wants, right? Because every single partner, they have like kind of, if I want to do this, I have like kind of this small thing that I kind of do. I move in this certain way. So this is where it comes in even more advanced parts in which the movements, the type of movement that you make, is really telling your partner what you're gonna do. Even if it's one step to the left, if it's one jump to the left, if it's moving backwards, all these really tiny details. You're not just, this is where you start to become a professional, and you're not just reading your opponent, you're reading your partner as the call maker. Right? Your partner is calling the play. Now, there is a second time. So I told you about the defensive, going to a defensive structure. So the partner, your person at the front, if you're front and back, the person at the front calls. Okay. If you're side to side, the person who moves first calls. If you don't move, then you're side to side. That means you stick with this structure. But this is why, you sometimes, typically, if you don't move, and you don't move before the shuttle is hit, this means typically that you're gonna stay side to side throughout the whole exchange, the next exchange. The hit, okay? Hit, air, hit. You're gonna stay in that structure, because it's really bad when people, like, there obviously so many possibilities in doubles, right? Obviously there's times where you're gonna be side to side, you're gonna be rigid, and then your partner suddenly decides to rush forward. That's fine. That's called a one-person setting. It's called a solitary setting. It's called a solitary call. You don't care about what your partner does. You just do it yourself. That's the thing too. There's so many deep understanding, deep ways you can play this off. It's not simple at all. I feel like some people feel like, oh, it's just so simple. I just do this, and it's the way to. No, it's not. The whole journey from a true advanced player to a true professional level thinker lies in play calling. Okay? Because all of a sudden you're playing not as two people, you're playing as one team. Right? You have everything is meshed together, and you know exactly what's going to happen, and you can really start to take advantage of the opponent's weaknesses and play better defense. Okay, so that's one part. The second part is while the shuttle is being hit. Okay? While the shuttle is being hit, typically, if there's a shot calling, it's a solitary shot calling, because there's not enough time for you guys. It depends, okay? Typically, what you would see is one partner, okay, as soon as the shuttle is there and you guys both see that the shuttle is there, he might make a call, and you have to respond with it. Right? This is the most important thing in play calling is, if you're gonna, typically you would respond to your partner, and if you ever go against your partner, you have to, know what to do next. Because if your partner makes the wrong call and you see that he's making the wrong call, you have to step in, right? Badminton is a point by point sport. Every point matters. If you lose 1 point, you're gonna lose, maybe sometimes. So there's, this extra layer of, okay, I can do, solitary play calling, which is I'm gonna ignore my partner, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I don't give a fuck what my partner is trying to make. I don't want to get demonetized. If I get demonetized, it's what I don't care what my partner is gonna do. I'm just gonna do this because I know that he's not seeing the play properly, so I have to step in and do it. It's kind of a, if my partner is being stupid type of thing. So that's that part of it. Being hit, a lot of times being hit, you have some person will see this tiny thing. So there's lots of possibilities that you really have to have someone, kind of coach you and see what you're doing to kind of help you explore it. But the basic thing is still the same. Typically, there's this other type of theory that is something called a back end shot calling. All right, this is where it's a type of solitary calling, because the person at the back, the person at the front, there's something called behind looking, right? If you look to your partner, so basically there's another layer. So typically, the front person calls all the shots. If he wants the person at the back to call the shot, he has to look backwards. Okay, for a brief second. Okay, this and at the deeper level, when the back person sees him look back, that's when he knows he's telling him call the shot. These are very small details and very difficult concepts that take a lot of practice, like a lot of practice. So I recommend you start from the easy part and then go to the hard gradually. You don't need to take all these tiny little things because they're very complex to apply, and you might not need them, right? This is splitting hairs over, you know, very minute details that can earn you 1, 2, 3 points. Whereas if you just stick with something simple, it might work better for you. So as a doubles pair, you guys have to decide how deep do you want the play calling, the shot calling to be. The simplest one is just, of course, the person at the front controls the shot calling. If you're front and back, if you're side to side, the person who moves first controls the shot calling. And whether this is before the shot is hit, as the shot is hit, or after the shot is hit, you know, it's the same thing. It's a person at the front controls the shot calling. Person who is moving first when it's side to side controls the shot calling. And person in the back just responds. So you have to start from the easy. This is the easiest way. You start from this way and you apply the shot calling. You get used to calling shots, making plays. And obviously there's other very deep things, like having one partner, like having, when you're serving, for instance, you can show two fingers. Okay, you can show if left hand, there's, okay, so basically it's like this. Okay, basically you have some sign that means I'm gonna make all the calls. Okay, you don't do any this play. You don't do anything. I'm gonna make all the calls. There's this. You make a sign for that, and just say you never serve long. If you serve long, you need to change your sign. Or you can say I will make all the calls this play, and you do that, and then you play it out. This one way. Or another way is you play in the mixed doubles. You say, okay, the girl always make the call, or the guy always make the call. Where I show you who's gonna make the call. Okay, so, and you can say words. Okay, say words. There's also if I hit it to the left, that's when I want you to make the play. So there's so many details, so deep that you can go with play calling or shot calling, shot making. So this is what I want. The idea that I want to introduce. It's by no means a complete explanation, but it's something that I'm introducing, that you can yourself kind of understand or work on it, and kind of get the whole entire idea as to what to do with it.